Well, we have been discussing the future CAP for quite a while now, and every time the process develops, we adjust our position. We have recently agreed on a reaction that takes into consideration the legal proposals that the Commission has tabled in June this year. And in that reaction, we have expressed some concerns regarding the renationalization of the Common Agriculture Policy. And this is about finding a right balance between the competences that still remain at EU level and those that can be granted to member states to adjust the policy to their specific needs. So it's not that we disagree completely with the model that is proposed by the Commission, but it's about finding the right balance between a number of EU objectives and what can be better shaped by member states to respond to their needs. Each time the CAP is reformed, it has become more and more complex. And what we have seen now in this one is that some measures are not easily understood, especially by farmers. One of those things is the so-called greening. And we have not really had enough time to understand what it means and to put it in place in a simple manner. So the outcome was an immediate criticism from the very beginning that it was too complex, that was not providing the necessary results, and our concern was that some of the things that we are looking at to improve, like biodiversity, climate, etc., these take time, and you can't just assess that in 1 or 2 years. So, in any case, another of the things that we are looking for the next policy is a clear simplification of the policy in such a way that farmers themselves understand what is being required of them so that they can deliver. There are many things that we don't know yet, and we do not have yet a clear understanding of how the strategic plans must look like. But a suggestion from our side to member states is to start preparing as fast as they can, because they need to start with an analysis of their strengths and weaknesses to look at what opportunities they have into the future and try to make it as simple as possible. Direct payments are extremely important. They are the basis and the main component of farmers' income. That's why we want to preserve the system of direct payments. In this respect, we don't consider that the mandatory capping that is proposed by the Commission is the right way to go. So we are, in that sense, we oppose capping. Even if several years ago a decision was taken to decouple the support from the production, it is still understood that different member states have specific particular conditions that they need to support with this very targeted and coupled support. And mostly because it's still the most efficient manner of supporting agriculture activity in some areas or for some sectors where other measures are not as efficient. And we believe that this needs to continue at the current level of support that we have, not at the reduced one that the Commission is proposing, and in a way where member states can decide which are the sectors that they need to support in their own country because of their own specific conditions. There are some challenges regarding the decision making on this future CAP. Mostly what we want is that a decision is taken on the future budget of the Union before we take a decision on the CAP. Why? Mostly because we need to have first the money, and then we, on the basis of the money that we have, we will decide on what will be the objectives of the policy. This is paramount. Then secondly, we have a timeline constraint regarding the decision, and that timeline constraint is the European election next year in May. So the procedures need to occur in the Parliament before the European elections. And this is where we don't really know what will happen, because the reports from the Parliament are currently being discussed. Then they will be voted. And depending on the number of amendments that will be tabled, we will see if these votes can take place still before the elections or only after. Well, if there are delays in the decision making, there will be a transitional period put in place. It's not something new. In the current CAP, the implementation was delayed by 1 year. So the Commission will put in place the necessary provisions to cover that transitional period, wherever it is, 1, 2, or 3 years.